don't line of scrimmage.
They won't encroach.
Yeah, I just feel like it's far away. It's like social distancing from the mic.
Go ahead.
First question.
What you got your group overall to pick up at the beginning of preseason camp about where they left off again in spring ball?
Yeah, for the most part. There's always those early camp, cobwebs, if you will, that you have to work through. But nevertheless, guys have picked up in a nice way. A lot of film that they had from spring ball. It's the beauty about having spring balls that got a lot of film to teach from, right, all throughout the summer. So happy about the way that they started, and we're working through some kinks, but nevertheless, like where they are.
It seemed like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like you sort of had 4 spots you felt pretty good about in a right guard competition in spring. Is that about the same now, or has there been shifting in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, there's a competition everywhere, but I'd say that right now, nobody has anything locked in. Everybody's fighting their tail off. And when I say locked in, and even words that I said after spring ball, was more comfortable, at these spots, and those, the right guard spot was a spot that we certainly need to make sure we shored up. But right now, it's fair game for everybody right now.
Would you like to have a starting 5, or could you see yourself having a swing guy that plays multiple positions and come in and help you at different times?
Yeah, we'd like to have 5 guys that we're pretty confident in, right? But there's always a case where you need a swing guy, and that's where I like where our depth is, because we have a few guys that have played multiple positions, and I think that as we continue to shuffle them around, and that's one of the things that we're doing right now is we're shuffling guys around, seeing what else they can play, if you will, especially the guys that are not working with the starting unit, and heck, a couple guys with the starting unit we're shuffling around to get some depth in other areas as well. So, as we approach season, you want to have a good confidence that the guys are, in some cases, asked to do a job that they've done before or they're familiar with. Whether it's a guard that's shifting over to center and snapping, and or a center that's shifting out to a guard. Or a tackle, in some cases where that guy's confident in the assignment, and then also the technique of it.
What do you like about the place that Cam's at right now, mentally, physically, or just everything coming to Cam?
Oh, he's in a good spot. Cam's in a good spot mentally. He's in a good spot physically. He has a good rapport with his quarterback. And he's one of our emerging leaders. And when I say emerging, I'm not talking about just doing your job. It's about the guy to the right and to the left of you. That's where we are with him. Heck, I just had a conversation with him right after practice, and our conversation was not about, did you do your job? Which in the past that it was like, hey, what do we got to get better at? We got to get better at our non-snap hand. We got to get better at this. I got to get better at that. Whereas today's conversation was, you need to hold other guys accountable a little bit more with some of the details. It's not the fact they don't know their job. It's more detail. Keeping those guys dialed in and locked into what we're trying to get accomplished. And, if you're supposed to step with your right foot on a certain angle, then you got to do it. And there's no wiggle room to that. So that's where the guys are. There's a lot of horizontal leadership going on right now, and I'm proud of where Cam is in terms of his emergence as a big-time horizontal leader for us.
Did you get your beef jerky hat yet?
Say what?
Did you get your beef jerky hat yet?
Not yet. I got to get a damn beef jerky shirt that doesn't peel, so I'm on his tail about that. But yeah, I'll get my beef jerky hat. And next time I show up for one of these press conferences, I'll have it on. I told him, but I'm not paying for it.
Ross talked about how being physical is one of the 3 big components that you guys are really stressing. How much more physical can you guys be this year, and you like where you're at this year?
Oh man, I don't think that there's a ceiling to being physical. I think, you're physical, and then you always are striving to be more physical in some regard. And I think that the standard of physicality continues to elevate every single day, every single play. So it's tweaking the margins. How else can I strike that? How can I be more explosive through my hips? All the fundamental things about being physical that we talk about on a daily basis. We never want to just put our body on a guy. We want to explode and strike a guy, So in some regards, you're talking about physicality, you're talking about consistency. And I think that we're talking about consistency of effort and consistency of the strike mechanics and all the angles that you got to put your body in order to maximize your explosive power. So physicality is a mindset, but the standard is how consistent can I be in terms of being physical, play after play, drive after drive, and that's where we're trying to get to. When Coach Frost talks about being physical, it's about being consistent and having that mindset and that effort.
I know Corcoran only started one game last year, but how important was it for him to get a full game on tape, and also how big of a jump do you expect him to make this year? Maybe better.
I mean, it was awesome for him to get those first game jitters out. Now that he's been through that, when we talk about a jump, the biggest thing, and we say this word jump, but again, going back to consistency, going back to knowing what you're doing, going back to confidence, those are the things that you're looking at for a guy like him that can put his feet in the ground, and now the game is a little bit slower to him. And that's the value in getting that first start, is that, there's all the things that come along with your first start. It's your first start, so it's sentimental value, and mom and dad are there. It's just like all the things that really don't pertain to football that naturally creep into your brain because it's your first one. We've gotten over that hump, so now he has an opportunity to really dial it in to what he's supposed to be doing and being confident in what he's doing, and he's another emerging leader for us as well.
The jump that Vando and Superman made this offseason, if that's what you saw, seemed to be in the spring. How important is that for right now? Just your depth and your rotation and everything that you're asking these guys to do.
Ultra important. I mean, those are guys we're going to depend on this year. So those guys being available and those guys being productive is huge for us. Those guys know you're going to be depended on, and those guys have been as resilient and have persevered their tails off since they've been here, and they're getting everything that they deserve, that they've earned, that they've worked for. So kudos to those guys, and those guys are in there every day working their tails off.
Sigerman spoke highly of Henry Latoski. What have you seen from him and the way he's handled himself as a true freshman?
He's a mature kid. Henry came in as a mid-year guy, and he's always been mature. Heck, Henry was recruiting our class when he was committed. He was committed for a long time, and as a mature guy that you're going to come across. And one thing about him is that every single day he gets better at something. And that's what you look for. As an offensive line coach, man, there's so many things, there's so many variables, there's so many, you got pass, you got run, you got all these plays and etc. Well, he's a guy that's going to work on one thing and make sure that he makes progress at that one thing, and then he's just going to move on, and he does it with such a blue head. I've talked in these press conferences about redhead, blue head. He's a kid that's going to keep even keel. He's going to take coaching, and he's a very coachable kid. You talk about a guy being mature and coachable, that's what you're looking for a young guy. As opposed to some of these young guys, when they come in and, they were the dude, they were the guy where they came from. And, he's as humble and mature a kid as I've been around. And, he's certainly a strong kid. So the sky's the limit for him. He's just going to continue to get better.
Coach Beckett was saying that it feels like...
Coach who? I'm sorry?
Coach Beckett.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yep.
Saying that you guys look different. Just coming back from the offseason, it's how they put a lot of work in. Do you see that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach Duval and Andrew Strop and those guys in the weight room have done an amazing job with these kids. You know, they have their routine by which, you know, they work the guys out over the summer, and even from spring ball throughout summer as we head in the fall. You know, guys' body weights are down. You know, I'm sorry. Their lean muscle mass is up. Their body fat is down. Let me make sure I made that right. Okay. So they're continuing to lean out. You know, fat boys, we got to have a little fat on us now too. You know, can't be all lean. You know, then we'll start getting too many girls, right? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that was a joke. Y'all can laugh. But anyway, so no, they came back over summer and leaner. And moving more efficient than, you know, when we had them in spring ball. And, you know, so again, those guys in the weight room working their tails off. And again, it's going back to the guys. Always got to take it back to the guys. The guys in the weight room, they don't allow guys to miss sets. They don't allow guys to, you know, you go in there and it's like you're going to practice. You know, there's a certain mindset that you take with you when you go in there. So there's a standard, so attack the standard. Day by day.
Hey, Greg, real quick, can you just describe, you're talking about that horizontal leadership in the position group. How would you describe where that is in the O-line? It seems like you've got, you know, seniors removing freshmen, and there's a lot of, you know, mentoring going on. How valuable is that, you know, as a guy maybe going through that yourself, you know, bringing along players, especially in that position?
Yeah, it's big. It's huge. You know, if you got a group of upperclassmen, if you will, that really care about the program and care about the position like our guys do. Man, I mean, I go to practice now. I know Ethan's standing right there, but, you know, he knows it. Like, you know, you take the wrong step, you got your hands in the wrong spot. I damn near can't even get a word in. You got it. I'm like, can I coach them, please? Like, you know, but it's awesome because, you know, those guys are on top of the young guys. They're coaching each other. Like, they're determined to make sure that we're successful, that we know what we're doing and we're detailed. You know, and even for me, it's awesome because they make me better. You know, they'll ask me a question, and, you know, one of the things about me is, you know, I don't have all the answers. I tell them right now, I don't have all the answers, but the answers I have, I know, right? But, you know, from time to time, you know, something can be tweaked. They're going to ask me a question like, hey, Coach, what do you think about doing this? And that's all leadership. That's all having confidence that, hey, we're all on the same page, fighting and moving in the same direction. You know, so just as much as those guys are coaching the young guys and coaching each other up, you know, iron sharpens iron. You know, I say it all the time to the boys. You know, as you guys hold each other accountable, you hold me accountable, I hold you accountable, and then, you know, we go from there. But talk about the vertical leadership versus horizontal leadership. You know, for a long time, even around here, it was vertical leadership. It was, you know, coach, player. You know, whereas when the players are coaching themselves and holding themselves accountable, now you're talking about horizontal leadership. And now you're talking about guys not only coaching, but also guys receiving, because that's the biggest part about it. There's always guys going to hold somebody accountable. But if you're giving the attitude like, man, screw you, right? Or if you're saying, thank you, I appreciate it. If you want to be coached, that's when horizontal leadership really, really makes a difference. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.